This is your pickle speaking. A lot of you have expressed interest in my bullet journal since I started in April, and so I finally got around to actually making this video. I'm sorry it's taken so long. But before I start, I will say that I have no video editing skills whatsoever. So this is completely raw footage, unedited, because I don't know how to edit videos. So what you see is what you get. So this is the notebook that I started bullet journaling in. I had this notebook for quite a while because I love this quote, be in love with your life, every minute of it. And my mom found this notebook quite a while ago and gave it to me, and I never used it because, you know, it's one of those things, you get a notebook and it has to have the perfect use. You can't just use it for anything, you know. So I had this sitting on my shelf for a really long time, and when I found out about bullet journaling, then this is the one I decided to use. Oh, another thing that I want to let you know before I get into this, I'm just going to show you the first month of my bullet journaling, but in the blog post, then I will tell a little bit about how I found out about bullet journaling and got into it, and also go to bulletjournal.com to learn about the basic overview of bullet journaling, the guy who created it, you know, his views and thoughts on it, because some of the things I'm going to say in here are based on the original things that he, you know, created, so it kind of helps you understand if you know where it's coming from. So I have a little flip calendar here, which I had before I started bullet journaling. I did not originally have this in here when I first started, but it's in here now. I made this intro page. It originally just had the stuff at the top, which this is the bullet journal of Lisa Canfield, if found, and I gave my phone number and my email address. And then after a while, I added some of these quotes. And I have the table of contents / index page, which is a staple of bullet journaling, is to have this at the beginning. So I reserved about 4 pages for that. And then I immediately got into my to-be-read list. This was one of the reasons why I got into bullet journaling, is because the blog posts that I read were specifically from like bloggers and readers who had bullet journals and how they used it to keep track of their blog and their reading. So the original thing that I wanted a bullet journal for was to have a written to-be-read list. So, but you can see I really only used this much of it. I reserved like 8 pages for this because I thought this is what I was, you know, going to use this for. And then I have a books to investigate, ones I need to look up that aren't actually, you know, on my to-be-read list page yet. This is my key that has all my indicators for different tasks, notes, you know. This sketch was a work in progress for a long time. Well, a long time, you know, a couple weeks. I would just, you know, doodle here and there, add some things. But I didn't add this like right when I first started. So I just had this chunk of space under my key and I wanted to doodle, so that's where I ended up. And I did not immediately put all of these down here either. I started with the ones that the bulletjournal.com recommends, and as I needed more, then I added them. And then I made a collection page for collection ideas because, you know, there are so many ideas, so many pages and things that I wanted to do, but I wasn't sure what I needed, what I wanted to do. So when I would think of something, if I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to implement it, then I would just put it down here to remember. And if I ended up using it on a specific page, then I put the page number, or some of these I didn't make entire pages for. I just implemented them in my dailies and my weeklies, so I checked off those. And then I had my April monthly page, which this is relatively based on the monthly layout that bulletjournal.com recommends. I can't stand it. I tried it because, you know, that was what was recommended. That's what I saw a lot of other bullet journalists doing. So I gave it a try, and I personally hate it. So that did not work for me. And then I had an April notes brain dump page, which I really liked. This helped me a lot. Since then, I've kind of changed up my monthlies, and so I really need to implement this kind of brain dump page back again because this was really handy. Next, I originally had this as a like life goals / bucket list page, but I don't like the term bucket list. It had, you know, going to a writing conference, stuff like that. But then it also kind of turned into wish list things I wanted, different notebooks and pens I wanted for my bullet journal. So I changed this to just a wish list. and I made a life goals, life to-do list sort of thing on page 40, and I migrated those there. These were my first dailies, I'm sorry. I always thought that I started on April 4th, but my first daily says April 6th, so whatever. These are my first dailies. They're very simple. I was learning what I wanted to do. Most of it was like tracking my meals, bedtime, get up time, stuff like that. Because getting into it, I didn't have a lot that I realized I should write down or that I needed to write down. So it's really simple, which is great, especially for starting out. Simple is the best. And then on the next page, I have Secret Sister information because I'm helping to run a Secret Sister event for the pack, my writing group. So I'm covering that up because some of those girls might read this, and so they're not supposed to know who their Secret Sister is yet. And then this is a page. I play an online game called RuneScape, so this was just some information I was tired of just keeping in my head. So I wrote it down, which is the whole idea of the bullet journal. I have Wonderfulest Internet Humans, which originally this was Kara at Bohoberry. I wrote down her, not her blog address, but I was going to write her a letter. So these were some notes I wanted to make sure I put in her letter. And some other blogs and websites I wanted to remember. And this was my gratitude log. I really tried to do the gratitude log. That's another thing that a lot of bullet journalists do, which is actually really great. For several years before I found out about the bullet journal, then I had, I didn't really call it a gratitude log. I just, wrote down one or two things I was thankful for every day in the same notebook that I used to track my Bible reading. So once I started the bullet journal, then I wanted to, implement it in here, and it never really worked. I filled this out pretty well, but so I don't have a gratitude log in my bullet journal anymore. This was supposed to be a future log. Another thing that, a staple of bullet journaling is the future log. I also started, it was really kind of weird, the time of year I started in April. So if you're going to go by quarters of the year, then it's like I started in April. The next quarter that I could do fully was, July through September. So I really didn't use this. I liked the brain dump page. That was a, future brain dump page, which I did appreciate. But because I have this calendar in the front, then I never ended up using this page. This was next page of dailies. This was my first time trying the time tracker, and I didn't really use it for a while after that. I really like to write tiny. I really, really like to write really small. So I tried to do that, and then after a page or two, I had to tell myself, okay, just write, full size. Don't try to make it all tiny like this. And because in my head, I was trying to save page space, and that's not, the mentality you should have when you're bullet journaling. So I think I did this for about 2 or 3 pages, and then I was like, Lisa, knock this off. And this is habit tracker. I tried to do this, and I really needed to get back into this. I tried a monthly. Then again, I kind of started in the middle of the month, but after the beginning. And I didn't use a ruler for this. I did this completely by hand, and it didn't quite go to 30 days. So I tried that, and I need to get back to it because I really like a habit tracker, but that didn't work for me at that time. This was my first weekly that I tried. It was more like a sample because I think by the time I did this, it was actually toward the end of the week. So to learn what I wanted to do next week, then I kind of sketched this out for the current week. I had the days of the week here, and these are my meal trackers because I was really trying to track my meals. I had the idea of just doing a weekly tracker for some things, which I did for a couple weeks, and it never really stuck. And then something that has stuck even until now is I do a weekly bank balance that I check either Saturday or Sunday, and I don't write it down every week, but I have the little square there to write it in every week. That doesn't mean I do it. And then I had a random pickle trinkets things related to my blog and Etsy shop. You can see I never got any farther than writing down the name of a photographer to possibly contact, which I never did. So I didn't really use that page either. And then more RuneScape information. this was the next week that I ended up using quite a lot. I started putting in my appointments, my house cleaning and stuff like that, and I tracked my meals. And again, you can see how small I write. You can barely read that. Bank balance, weekly to-do. I was really trying to get on my reading, but tracking my reading, like a to-do list reading never works for me. I did a little doodle. I separated weekly to-dos and like events and appointments, which was nice. I still really like the setup. I don't exactly use it anymore, but it's a really good starter for me. Stuff to do to my room. At the time, I was starting to rearrange my room and I was getting some more shelves. My phone cut off because it has a horrible memory. And so apparently I cut off and I didn't notice until I'd finished. So we have 15 more pages to go. Anyway, it cut off when I was saying that this was a page about stuff to do to my room, stuff that I still need to do that I want to do. This was a monthly checklist that I wrote down things that I wanted to remember that I needed to do each month. Car insurance, clean my bathroom, vacuum my room, which I only used April and May, but it is something that I really should reference, but I don't like to flip back in my journal, if I'm this far ahead and then I have a reference page like 20 pages back. I don't flip back and use a page like that. So that's why I only got as far as May. And then I have projects, things that I need to remember to do, crafts and stuff like that. So I don't have to keep it all in my head. This was local craft shows. I looked up craft shows to craft fairs and places that, supported local artists, so that I could take my jewelry there and see if I could sell it. So I wrote down, the name, the address, and when it was for Saturday or second or fourth Saturday, biannual, that kind of thing. This was my second daily page, which I got a whole week. I did Friday to Friday, writing all tiny and saving page space like this. And after that, I told myself that I needed to knock that off and not crunch like that. So then this was another weekly. I tried Habit Tracker again, and I made the daily squares a little bit smaller and the meal tracker boxes a little bit bigger. And then I have the events and appointments and weekly to-dos and reminders, and then my bank accounts balance. This was a happy things page, kind of similar to the gratitude journal, but a gratitude log. But I didn't use it like every day. I didn't reference back to it after a while. I probably did this for about a week. So anytime, something really fun, good happened, then I would just write it here. I have books, good dreams, soup cups, tea biscuits, driving with the windows down, that kind of thing. And then this was a May spread that I drew out the entire month, because I like this way better than what I tried in April that I showed you didn't work for me because I'm so visual. I need to see the month like this. But after May, I didn't do this anymore because I have the calendar at the beginning that gives me that, so I don't need to draw this out every month. And then things to do in my lifetime. This was the spread that I migrated from like the life goals one that I told you. So things to do in my lifetime / bucket list, whatever you want to call it. Songs to download. These are songs that I want to remember to download to my MP3 because if I try to think of stuff that I can never remember, different things that I've wanted to put on my MP3 player. So I made a collection for that. And then this was more dailies that I finally, used my full-size handwriting on, and I started journaling a little bit when something, fun or memorable happened, that I would, write about it a little bit. This was when I was house sitting. And some of you know that every time I house sit at this one house, then it rains at least once while I was there. So after I got there from house cleaning, then the skies absolutely opened up, and so it was really funny. So I wrote it down. This was a really big busy weekly spread. I don't like it now. I didn't like it then. It's just really crowded, but I separated my daily squares and my meal tracker, and then I did habit tracker, and then events and appointments. I guess I never put an actual to-do list on this, but it's so busy. I don't like it when a page is so crammed up like that. And then more dailies, prayer requests. For a while, I didn't think it'd be really great to have a prayer request page to remember things to pray about, remember things to pray about, and I never filled it in, and I really thought I would. So it's not a wasted page because I learned that that doesn't work for me. So I'm okay with having a page like this that I made and then I never used, because to me it's not a wasted page. And then shortly before May, then I wrote the 6-word story prompts, and then filled them in on the day, or, sometimes I had to catch up, so I wrote several in a day. And the same with Rock Your Handwriting, except I did those prompts in a different notebook, even though I didn't finish all of them. And then this was my last April page, and into my May. So that's where I'm going to end this video, because I just wanted to show you my first month when I was starting, learning. I made lots of mistakes. I learned a lot. I still made mistakes here. I wrote April instead of May 1st. I still do things like that. So I just really want to, if you're interested in starting a bullet journal, just remember that it's like nobody's perfect. We're all human. It's really easy to get perfectionist about a bullet journal, but that's the whole idea about it, is to not be a perfectionist and just make it work for you. It's not supposed to be pretty. I mean, you can make it pretty with embellishments and, fun stuff, but before any of that, then it needs to work for you. It's a tool. It can also be a journal and, a place for artistic expression, but above all that, then it needs to work for you and be a tool, even if that includes making mistakes. Having blank pages like the prayer request page and stuff, then that's totally okay. It's all about learning. And I don't really cringe when I look back on these old pages, because I learned a lot. It was not a waste of time, a waste of space, or anything like that. So I really hope you enjoyed that. I am going to make another video about the May and into June, and how I kind of started developing my style and using a little bit more embellishments like color, and I got a new pen. So I really hope you enjoy this, and hopefully I'll get that next vlog out sooner than it took me to get this one done.